Okay, so we're going to have a look at doing some detailing in the project. Most of your details are coming off some type of section, something like that. So the first thing that we've got to do is to go to, let's say, a wall section and make a call out. In this instance here, we're going to draw up this detail here. So all I'm going to do is make a call out, make sure it's a detail view, and then just do a call out of that area and then move the bubble around. I'm going to then go into my detail view and adjust the scale, let's say 1 to 5. Okay, and then I'm going to make it what I feel is the correct size for this view. Okay, I might even turn the annotation crop off so I don't get this little line around the outside, which is a bit of a pain. And then what I'm going to do is so that I get the correct offsets around everything, what I'm going to do is draw a little circle. You might have seen me do this in my wall sections before. All these circles are there for is to give yourself a bit of a guide to place the crop of the details so that they kind of are the same on every single view that you've got. Okay, so adjusted the crop. Next thing I might want to do is just adjust the grid line. And then once I've done that, and I've adjusted the crop to suit, the next thing I want to do is I just want to turn this whole thing into a half tone. Okay, so it's gone from black to this, what in essence is just a dark grey. And this is just an indication to us that we might want to trace over at some future point. Now, when we're having a look at this, the first thing and the most primary thing that we have to make up in our detailing is the structure. So think of it how a builder builds it. So in this case here, the first thing that will go up will be the foundations and blah, blah, blah. The first thing that we can see in this detail here will actually be the portal frame will be the first thing that gets put up. So I'm just going to use a detail line. In this case, I'm going to use a thin line. And I'm just going to draw over the top of my detail or my drafting view. And I'm just using the pick option and kind of just tracing over it. Okay, now these might be extended up. Okay, they might be trimmed up again. However, the structural detail I want it to be done. Okay, so we've got the portal that gets put up. The next thing that gets put up will be the purlins and girts. So again, this will be the next thing that I detail up. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go to my annotate tab. We've used detail lines. The next thing I want to use is a detail component. Okay, I've already preloaded some stuff in. I'm going to choose some purlins. Okay, that's the wrong size. Let's go 250 purlin. Okay, so I'm going to place that one there. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place that one there. Okay, so again, when we turn our wide lines back on or thin lines off, it goes back to being normal. Okay, so put up the purlins. Now the next thing they're going to do typically would be something to do with the roof normally. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is put some linings on the roof. Okay, so the first thing that they're going to do is put some mesh down. Okay, so again, this is just a detail line. I'm going to look at all my line types here. I'm going to see that there's some lines here, but there's not really one called mesh. Okay, so I'm just going to use one of my other ones that I've got there, and I'm going to do a little bit of an offset here. And the reason why we're doing these offsets is to show a construction sequence. Okay, so I've done one line there, and then kind of at that point, I can kind of say, well, I kind of know what the detail's like. How about I just, instead of showing it in halftone, I'm just going to make it disappear. Okay, so I'm now going to just start detailing this up using the model as we see it now. Okay, now we've got to keep in practice with these little detail offsets, and I'm just going to use 2.5 millimeters. I'm going to offset that a couple of times. So let's say this is going to be the mesh. Okay, this one here might be the building wrap. Okay, I might then copy up another one, and this one might be the beginning of the roof sheeting. Okay, so we're going to have it as medium lines because that's the roof sheeting that's been sliced. Okay, and then while I'm going at that, I might as well actually just draw in a little line, which will be my underflashing if I've got one. Okay, now I've drawn up a little bit of the roof here. Now what I want to do is I want to start to draw the rest of the roof, and in this case I'm going to use a detail component for my BB900, and then I can see, well, that's the thickness of the roof. How about I grab one of these and copy it up, and instead of it being two medium lines, I'm going to make the top one a thin line. Okay, so the medium line is the cladding that's been cut, and the thin line is, in this case, the cladding and projection. Now, because I've done that, I might as well just draw the end of it. Okay, I might as well draw a downturn in it, and then make them the same thickness. So we can see that the cladding comes along and comes down in the medium line weight, and then the roofing trough or projection is shown there. Okay, now I can do the same thing with the cladding here as well. So again, I can just get something. In this case, it's just my detail component. Okay, I'm going to use the same method as I used here. So again, I can use a medium line for one side of the cladding and a thin line for the other side of the cladding. Okay, now once I've got those, I can then again trim them into place. And then stretch it up. Okay, and that's kind of done there. So we've got our roofing line coming down, and we've got our, in this case, vertical cladding coming up. Okay, now the next thing, so that's kind of almost done there. The next thing will be, we might have to place the gutter. Okay, so again, we can use I've got a detail component here. In this case, I've got some 3 preset sizes here. Might be a box 175. Okay, now this is a bit of a smart one here. So what we can do is you can place it here, and just for the sake of it, I'm going to trace over it so you can actually see what I've been doing. Okay, so I've got this smart little component. Place it in a certain position, and then I'm going to move it off there a little bit. Okay, so I've got my gutter and I've got some brackets. Okay, so if I want to trace anything, okay, again, we can just use the detail line tool. I select which line I want to use. In this case, the gutter is going to be mostly a medium line. And then just using the pick option, I'm going to trace that little piece of the gutter there. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the bracket, but using a thin line this time. Okay, a little thin line there. And there I have it. Okay, now just to make sure, I'm going to select some of these things and move it a little bit off the cladding so you can see a bit of a difference there. And then I might put an underflashing in there, and that might have to be 70 deep with a little bit of a start of a bird's beak on the end of it. My building rack will come along here. As per the code, the roof sheeting needs to be at least 50 millimeters in. And that is the start of the detail. Okay, so we've gone from this basic wall section view. We've made it call out. Once we've made that call out, we've gone into the call out. We've adjusted the scale that we want. Once we've adjusted the scale that we want to turn it to halftone. Once we've adjusted that, we want to adjust the crop so that it's the right size of how we feel it looks like. You might want to turn off the annotation crop. The next thing we do is we start detailing this thing up as per how it's been built. So there's a portal frame, there's some purlins, then they'll put on the roof sheeting, and then the wall cladding, they'll hang a gutter, and then you start to note things up. Once it's all done, you can then place it on a sheet, and then it's finished.